The other thing that's important about consistency is it's much easier to maintain something than to build it. If you can get your body or your finances or your mind more to where you want to be, then it's a lot easier to sort of keep it around that area than if you're constantly fighting. Hello boys, how are we? If you're new here, I'm a psychology student trained to be a therapist. On this channel we talk about mindset, positive attitude, self-development, mental health and all that type of thing. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around. Today I wanted to talk about consistency, being consistent in the habits and actions that you take. The reason consistency is so important is because not only does it get you to where you want to be, but more importantly it keeps you there. It's like hard work's going to get you to the top. It's that consistency that's going to keep you there, sticking with those habits even when you get up there and don't feel like that you slack off and don't have to work anymore. There's a saying in politics that getting elected is easy, governing is harder. People get through sort of a grueling election and they finally get elected. There might have been a 2-year campaign if it's like in the American presidency, and they think that's the hardest bit, and then when they're actually in the seat, once they get to the governor's mansion or the White House, all of a sudden they go, oh god, this is even harder. I'm guessing none of the people watching this video are running for any presidencies, so I'll move on from that and talk about it on a more self-development level. Being consistent, ironically, almost makes things easier because it doesn't let you be dissuaded by having a bad day or anything like that. There's the difference between motivation and discipline. No one's motivated every day, but the people that get up and go to the gym are the disciplined ones. They're the consistent ones, and that means even on days that you don't feel like it, you're still going to go. If you're purely driven by motivation and you wake up one day and you don't feel like it, you're not going to do it. Whereas if you're disciplined and consistent and you just keep going with things, that's where over time you're going to end up seeing that progress. That's why a lot of people fail with things like fitness and dieting, because they don't stay consistent, because they don't set habits that are realistic. If you're trying to do no carbs or run 1,000 calorie deficit every day, you might last 2 or 3 days or something like that, but eventually you're going to break because you're just going to be starving and your body needs that kind of energy. So you're going to end up just probably eating more than if you hadn't before. It's like people that just sort of cut out chocolate and cut out sweets altogether. That's fine for like, even you might even last a couple of weeks doing something like that, but eventually someone's going to put a chocolate cake in front of you and you're going to eat the whole thing. That's why it's so important to form those habits that are far more realistic. If you're going for fitness and you go, oh, I'm going to go to the gym for 3 hours every day, as soon as you miss one of those days and don't go for 3 hours, you've completely lost your consistency. So pick something realistic. Unless you're very, very lucky, you don't have the time to be in the gym for 3 hours a day. So instead of that, I'm going to do 10,000 steps every day and 4 weight sessions per week. That's something that's completely doable depending on your lifestyle, and something that you're way more likely to stick to. The other thing that's important about consistency is it's much easier to maintain something than to build it. If you can get your body or your finances or your mind more to where you want to be, then it's a lot easier to sort of keep it around that area than if you're constantly fighting. Taking finance for example, if you're looking to save a certain amount or looking to get to a certain financial goal, or maybe get a house or a mortgage or something like that, if you get yourself financially roughly to where you want to be and you're just sort of staying around there, then yeah, if you do have a bad night where you buy too many drinks, or you go to the shop and you spend a bit too much money on trainers or something like that, it's not ideal, but you haven't fallen too far back because you're already at where you wanted to be and you're just trying to maintain. So you go, okay, cool, I'll just save a little bit more next month or a little bit more next week. But if you're just so far behind and you're constantly making stupid financial purchases when you're on the way to saving, then not only do you feel way more guilty, but you're just knocking yourself even further back. The same is with fitness. If you get your body physically in a really good shape and you're fit, strong, muscular, lean, whatever, that's fine, and you're at a place that you want to be. Yeah, if you go out and you're a bit silly and you have too many drinks, or yeah, if you go to a birthday party and there is a massive cake and you eat it, like, it's not great, but you go, cool, I haven't done too much damage because I am where I wanted to be anyway, so I'll just be a bit more sensible for the next few. But if you're sort of building that body, and every time you make a mistake and you're not consistent, every time you skip a gym session or eat something that you shouldn't, or don't drink your litres of water or whatever, you're just falling back and you just feel 10 times worse about yourself. So that's why it's so important to, when you have a plan, just stick consistent to it. The idea of consistency is basically delayed gratification. The reason that's important is because, one, it's something that we have seriously lost as a species sort of over the last however many years, and more importantly, it's literally what separates us from other animals. A lion out in the wild doesn't kill a zebra, eat half of it and goes, oh, actually I'm watching my weight, I should probably not eat the other half. It will just eat. They don't have theory of mind. They can't go, oh, actually, if I don't eat that, I'm going to be in a better shape, or if I don't do this, this is going to happen later. They only act on what is going to make them feel good right now, which is also what children do. And the problem is not, people used to grow out of that, and the people that make it to the top and are consistent and athletes and politicians and people like that, normally those are people that have very good willpower and delayed gratification, because you can stare at the piece of chocolate cake and go, I would absolutely love to eat that, and right now that would make me feel really good, but in about 40 seconds when it's gone, I'm going to feel awful. And then not only that, in 3 weeks when I haven't lost any weight because I've eaten loads of cake, that's going to make me feel awful as well. The people that can really push the limits of who they are and really make it to where they want to go are the people that can go, look at that cake and go, I'm not going to eat that. And even they wake up, they don't feel great at the time, wake up the next day, the next day, the next day. And it might be 3 weeks later of saying no to that cake before you go, I can actually really see it. I can look in the mirror and know that I'm thankful that I look back and I didn't eat it, or I didn't have that pint, or I didn't do whatever, because my body looks better than what it would have if I had. I wanted to make this video because it's something that I've really struggled with and something that I've really worked on. I go through phases of having a lot of willpower and not having a lot of willpower, and I've mentioned before on this channel that my diet is something that I've really struggled with, and since I've come back to uni this year, I've made a real effort to sort of be, I wanted to sort of do it over summer, and it never really quite happened, for whatever reason. My head just clearly wasn't in the right place. But since I've come back to uni, so the start of September, apart from sort of a few silly days and silly nights here and there, I've been really good sort of with my diet and the gym and everything like that. And the reason this all came to a head is I'm filming this on a Thursday, obviously Rugby Social's Wednesday, so if I'm a little bit slow, I look a little bit tired, that's why. But we just had a social last night where we weren't allowed to wear clothes, so I just had a bed sheet and sort of wore it like a sort of Julius Caesar kind of thing, which I was basically topless for most of the night. And I got a few of the boys sort of said, oh, you're looking strong, you're looking well. And that's the first time that sort of, and it was the first time that in a while that I'd sort of felt confident to wear something like that. And I know that sounds a little bit ridiculous coming from a guy, because guys don't really sort of think like that normally, but it's not that I wouldn't have worn it before, but I wouldn't have sort of worn it with confidence, if that makes sense. That is a culmination of the decisions that I've made and the sacrifice and delayed gratification that I've done over the last few weeks. And don't be wrong, as I said, I have not been perfect at all. My sleep still isn't great, because I'm still spending a lot of time being social and everything like that. But in terms of my gym and my diet, those two things I really have got right over sort of the last 2.5 months. And the reason I wanted to bring up easier to maintain than to build, what I was speaking about earlier, is because coming into Christmas, if you pick this time of year to sort of decide to lose weight or give up drinking. And I do, some people do sober October. I have seen people go sober for November, and absolutely fair play to you. With my social calendar, we've got the rugby, we've got the Autumn International, we've got the Football World Cup. I'm the biggest Christmas person going. There is not a chance this time of year that I'm going to go on no chocolate and sweets or give up drinking. It's just not realistic for me to do that. So there will probably be days over the next few months, or maybe even weeks, that I go over my calories and drink too much and eat too much. But because I'm at a place now where my body's stronger and leaner than it was, I might be able to tell from videos that I've lost. I don't know if it shows on camera as much, but the fact that I'm there, I don't feel anywhere near as guilty. Whereas if I'd spent the last couple of months not doing that and getting really out of shape, and if you're going into sort of November, December already out of shape and planning to sort of have the social calendar I have, I'm going to feel guilty every time I have a beer or every time I have a piece of chocolate, and that's not where you want to be. So it's about picking those months and picking those times to sort of, yeah, sacrifice and use that delayed gratification. I think I've made my point, don't want to go around in circles. Call to action would just be, please just stay consistent. If you've got these good habits, just stick with them. Go back and watch Monday's video about the 60-day challenge of finding those 3 habits that you're going to keep up between now and New Year's Eve, because that is it. I really haven't done anything crazy or anything silly. I'm not on any ridiculous vegan diets or massive calorie deficits or anything like that. I've just watched what I eat, trained consistently, and for me, physically and mentally, it's made a huge difference. I'm sure it would do the same for you. Thank you for making it all the way to the end. If you did find any of this useful, please do consider liking, subscribing. As always, comment any other advice or anything else you think below. Try to keep it nice, and I will see you in the next one. Till then, take care, lads.